Well, welcome back to Nice, and here we are in Place Massena, which is like a plaza, if you like, a public space, and the buildings are painted in, all coordinated with this red ochre colour. Some are a little bit faded, some have had a recent paint job, and along with the statues we have to the left off camera there are fountains and gardens, and this vehicle is a great way to get around if your legs aren't up to a lot of the walking, although Nice is very flat. It's a very pleasant place to walk, but not everybody has good knees and legs. But here we are, and what we're really here to talk about is Petanque, which is the game with the metal balls and a synthetic or wooden jack, or we'll call it the jack, the small ball. The Petanque show, and the women have, the ladies have a space. You can see the parasailing in the background. The ladies have an allocated space on the promenade, which is normally free to run. That's where I do my morning run or go for a swim in the Med. And here's one of our cutest spectators. I just had to have a closer look as she looks so relaxed in her chair watching her mother play. And let's have a close look at the ground on which this is played. It can be played on sand. The gravel allows a little bit more mobility. The ball can roll more, although it's quite rough, and you can see the close-up of the jack. Here they're measuring the distance at the end of a game from the jack as to which team has the most balls closest, and therefore the score. Here's a shot that may be intentional, and very good if it is. She's managed to dislodge the jack completely from the game, because once it touches the wood at the end, it's out of the game. So that might have been intentional. There are rules on Wikipedia for all of this. This lady is not disturbed by the sound of the horn and does an excellent bowl right up alongside the jack, which is difficult to do. And that's the reason for the horn, traffic issue. Here's the sand that rises as the ball comes in, knocking the opposition ball out of the way, which we'll talk about later. And here's the only competitor I saw who rubbed a hand in that before she actually did her underarm traditional Petanque bowl, and it's a good one. See the beautiful Mediterranean in the background? There's a offensive shot, knocking the opposition balls out of place, and a discussion about that could be the very end of the game, that particular one. Most of these they're all threesomes, which meant, and each player has two balls, so in a threesome, two balls each. And what a great shot. And the official magazine, and we're going to watch the men now playing in the gardens of Nice, the beautiful gardens, very green. And here's a man who's being instructed by the other two members of his team as to what to do with his ball, and the ball closest to his shoes is an opposition from the other team, so his instructions are to knock the ball out, and they're telling him how to do that, and he's saying, "Oh, you sure that'll work?" And they're saying, "Yeah." And the big fella's saying, "Look, you know, I'm bigger than you, don't argue with me, and trust me, I know what I'm saying, and I have total confidence in your ability, so do it." And here he goes. He prefers to do it on his haunches, and action. Perfect shot. I mean, he really has played that well. I don't know what the final score was. Notice the big fella uses a magnet to pick up his ball, because bending is a little difficult for him. Now we have a close-up look at the balls without the players to watch the point of the guys there are specialists in this within the team. There are those who specialise in pointing, that is placing the ball like that, closest to the jack. There are those who specialise in shooting, as in knocking the opposition ball away from the jack, and ideally placing their ball close if they can. So here is a shooter knocking the ball out, and their accuracy is phenomenal. There's no editing in this. This is all concurrent shots. So there's a close-up pointer shot, very close, nice position. And the next player says, well, no, that's got to go. But this is what can happen. He knocks the opposition ball away, but once the ball that he's used has touched the wood, the outside plank, it is out of the game. So the opposition ball is close. That ball could be as close, and the instructions to the next bowler is to knock that ball away. So the shooter has to and will successfully do this, and also put his ball, it's all about trajectory and speed and accuracy, put his ball equally close or possibly closer to the jack. A lot of skill. Approximately 6 metres from the jack. 6 to 10 is the international rule. By the look of it, these were about 6 metres away. Or 20 feet if you like, if you're not metric. And that one's closer, for sure. But what about knocking that one out without knocking the same team ball out? So this is a really tricky shot. And done perfectly. So the person who shot that ball did not knock his own team ball out of the way, which is a great skill. And so what will the next player do? No, not particularly, not a scoring ball. And that one is. Good shot. Now here's a man who's going to bowl both his balls consecutively, which is not necessarily the rule. You can do one ball and then hold one in reserve. But he wants to move that opposition ball, and he does it reasonably well on his second shot. Now let's look at throwing or bowling techniques. It seems like a throw, but it's underarm, that's the rule. Looking at it from his left, looking at it from his right, and looking at it now from his left. He prefers to do it down low. This man prefers to lean forward and use the full length of the arm to get the ball as closest to the jack before he releases. Nice easy flick of the wrist. And again, similar. Now we're in the stadium, about 1,000 spectators, and some applause. That was a shooter knocking an opposition ball out of the way. There's a pointer who knocks the jack and brings his ball very close. Gets a good applause for that, because this is a local, one of these two teams is a local team. Local as in the southeast of France and Provence, Alpes-Maritimes. Here we go. Here's a shooter. He wants to knock that ball further away from the jack. He takes a long wind up and direct hit, but not very far. He hasn't knocked it very far away, so, and his ball is completely out of the game. This man tries the same, knocks a different ball out of the game. But this man, we'll call him a pointer, so he's going to place his ball close to the jack. Can he do it? Can he what? Very good. From here even it's easy to see that he's very close to the jack. And he gets a good applause for that. So that game is almost finished. And you can see now that they pick up the ring. They must stand inside that circle. And as we're getting towards the end of the video, which has covered various aspects of Petanque, I should say, we'll see them stepping into position for the next game, and then move on to the end of that game where they've completed the set, if you like. Now just a close-up of the sign which shows there's an international school for petanque, and it's quite popular in Spain as well. There are 17 million French players, but they don't all play regularly, and most are amateur. They're all shaking hands at the end saying, okay, you won or we won, congratulations. Some shake hands, some do the peck on the cheek, depending on aftershave, smell of sweat, or how well you know the other player. And essentially that's it. And thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll leave you with the announcer. Catch you next time.
Beau parcours de l'équipe des Alpes-Maritimes qui va donc s'arrêter en huitième de finale. Petanque.Com.